We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hello world, hello. That is EJ, that's my new theme song, and I absolutely love it. We're gonna let it play all the way through so you guys can hear it. Oh, that's the instrumental. Okay, that's the instrumental. We got to get the words on. We'll get that on the commercial break. But the beat, it's just so fun. It's so happy. Welcome, everyone. This is Jackie Elam. I'm your host on Jackie Elam Live Entertainment Unlimited. We are going to have a great show today. We have Ann Henry and Paula Dorn. I wanted to make sure I pronounced the O. With BizParentz.org. They are a wonderful organization for parents and for children and for anyone that are interested in getting their kids into show business. And if you are interested in knowing different laws, they are on top of it. They are on top of it. They will be at Congress with whomever is trying to pass whatever new law. Interesting story on how I met Ann Henry. But before we get started, I wanted to just another brief synopsis. Eventually, you guys will understand what this show is about. And I won't have to say all of this. But until then, I'm just here to give a voice to the voiceless in the entertainment industry. A lot of times we don't get to hear from, the second AD. We don't get to hear from, the writers, and we don't get to hear from even celebrity stylists and even promoters, because I feel like club promoters, concert promoters, they're bringing in entertainers to entertain us. And I am trying to give a voice to people in show business that don't have one, because again, we love our stars. We love our celebrities. We have our favorites. We support them. But we also want to hear from everybody in the business so that we can understand it more, so that we can also just hear their journey and hear their struggles and hear their victories. And I think that will help everyone, as well as people who are trying to pursue on the same path that they are on. So without further ado, I want to thank you, Ann and Paula, for being here. Welcome. Hey. Awesome. Okay, so you guys are amazing. I mean, before I got my kids in, I didn't know where to turn. And even before I say that, we're going to dedicate the first show of every month to the kid industry. So we'll always have someone in. We'll always have some type of topic about show business for the children in this wonderful industry, because we've had great experiences. And I know you guys have come across a lot of people and have spoken to a lot of parents that have not had great experiences. So you guys have a wonderful website. I only know of Minor Consideration, and you all as like the people who have been the forerunner in making sure we're constantly updated on the laws in show business concerning our kids. Any issues, any cases, that may come to play, you guys are on top of it. I always use you guys' website. I mean, it's my number one resource, and it's a wonderful site. But can you tell us a little more about your organization?
Sure. Well, thanks for having us, Jackie.
Awesome.
Yay, I'm glad we finally got together. We started BizParentz in 2003. Paula and Paula is here with me, but she's staying off camera a little bit today because she's feeling a little under the weather, fighting off a little bronchitis. So she's going to jump in to save me when I can't remember what I'm supposed to be doing here.
Awesome.
But in the meantime, we met each other on set, like many showbiz moms, and I'm sure we'll get to how we met eventually here today. But we met on set. Both of our kids were working at Disneyland in a live show there.
Okay.
And Paula has one son, and I have three kids. So it was my middle son and her son. We're contemporaries, and you could even say competitors, I guess. We met there and got to be friends and sharing our struggles. And at that time, 2000 was pretty early internet. There wasn't like you were just Googling what you should be doing as a stage parent. No idea what we were doing. We were hacking our way through it. And then we started to become involved a little bit with the Screen Actors Guild and realized that they were doing stuff that really wasn't parent friendly at the time.
Okay.
They were redoing the Coogan Law, which is the trust account law that makes us all have to save some of our kids' money, which is all good.
Right.
But when they were redoing the law, it became really clear that this was kind of not really communicated well with parents. Parents really had no voice in what they were doing. And so Paula and I decided to start BizParentz as a group where parents could have a voice all together and where we could communicate a little bit. So we started really as an email list originally, and then we eventually added on the website, and now we're a little more on social media than we even are on our website. So that was all around 2003. And then since then, things have just steamrolled on and we've kind of had to, our kids have gotten older and we've had to adjust and met lots and lots of new people. All of our kids had great experiences in the industry, of our personal children. Yeah, so we didn't
Always
have.
good to hear.
Yeah, it is. It's great, and really that's why we started. We were really frustrated with the idea that entire laws were being passed based on stage parent lore, of some horrible stage parents who were doing horrible things to their imaginary children, and it was awful. And we were looking around at our friends and ourselves and going, well, hey, we're good parents, and this isn't us.
Exactly.
What the heck?
I don't know any stage parents. That's what I feel.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, that's exactly where we were. So we realized things were going on without us in a legislative level, and that if sane parents didn't get involved, that things were going to go that weren't going to be so great for our families. So we started BizParentz as a family organization.
Okay.
You mentioned A Minor Consideration, which is another nonprofit that we work with sometimes. That was founded by Paul Peterson, and they are more of a former child actor organization. Okay. So they do sometimes we agree with them and sometimes not.
Yes.
A lot not, because we're really focused on families and family preservation and what's important to moms and dads and children and keeping them intact as a family.
Okay.
A Minor Consideration's focus is to advocate for the children themselves. So they're going after kids that they think have been wronged in some way.
Okay.
And are supporting them. But sometimes that's against the parents. Their focus is all about the kid regardless of the parents. And we kind of come at the same problems from a different angle.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. That's wonderful. And the great thing, as soon as I heard about it, I was just like ecstatic, because I'm like, I've been looking for something to either research, like you say, go online. It wasn't a book that I can really find,
right,
which is why I wrote my book.
It's like finding your tribe, right?
I know.
I found my people.
Yes, somebody who can relate. I have a lot of questions, and so I just wanted to know, how all of this works. And it wasn't really anything out there that was pretty solid. So what I found interesting, though, is that in the very beginning now, of course, when I talked to a couple of managers, just a couple, and for whatever reason, and I understand just based on the cases, but for whatever reason, they was like, well, one said, well, just stay away from them, like bizparents.org, stay away from them. And, I mean, I don't understand why some managers, and I think I know why, but I'm going to let you answer, would kind of tell a parent or two to stay away from this wonderful information that you guys are getting. Now, all you're doing is just making available what has already happened. It's like you're not creating this stuff. You're not creating the cases. You're not creating the problem. You're just displaying what's going on in show business so that us parents can be aware. So why would you think some industry insiders would say stay away?
I think that's a great question, because we occasionally have people, like you said, occasionally someone will come up and they'll go, oh, they told us not to talk to you. And we always go, that they did. We have found that they fall into a few categories. People who either are afraid of stage parents. They profit from us being ignorant. Managers, acting coaches, not all of them, certainly not all of them, but some of them are profiting from the idea that parents are uninformed.
Wow.
So they don't want parents to be that knowledgeable. They're selling knowledge. So,
exactly.
And they're selling whatever brand they're selling. So they would prefer that people didn't run anything by any other parents, or that they didn't have the really good information. There's another little crowd of predators, and we'll probably touch on that a little later in the show. But that crowd also doesn't want anyone to know that other parents may have complained to us. We might have a file. We might have some information about their, negative activities. And so, we kind of laugh when we hear, oh yeah, well, they told us not to talk to you. And we always go, well, yeah. And some of those people have been arrested since then, since we first heard that.
Yeah, so you need to watch those who are saying to stay away, because maybe I need to watch you
Yeah,
and stay away from you, trying
Yeah.
to tell me to stay away from them.
A little bit.
That's very interesting. And you were saying that some of them have been arrested. So those would probably be the former managers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I guess they all talk. I mean, I feel like it's such a community of people who, stay in small circles. So like the managers are like closely friends with one another, and maybe the agents are the same way. And if they hear rumors, about this manager, it's just very interesting that as an adult, the adults aren't standing up. The adults may not be, staying away from this person, even if it's a rumor. I mean, you can get down to it, but sometimes where there is smoke, there is fire.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no reason for a new parent with a new kid in this business to begin to say something, out of the ordinary about a certain person or manager in this business, unless they've experienced something.
Right. And I think reputation-wise, it's all about reputation, but it's like any business. It's who you associate with and who you align with. And I mean, we're confident because we go back and go, well, look, we were on the SAG National Young Performers Committee as advisors to them. We've gotten commendations from the city of Los Angeles for our work. The governor writes us letters about how fab we are. So we're feeling like, well, you know what, we're on the right side. We're doing the right thing. Other people that are questioning us, it's like, well, okay, you can, stand back and watch what we do and balance like you should. We want every parent to get all the information they can get in the industry, and then balance. Put it on a scale and go, well, okay, so, somebody that I've never heard of that isn't very successful has told me to stay away from these people. On the other hand, of all these really legitimate, credible industry professionals that support them. So, gee golly, what should I listen to? So for us, we're kind of okay with the criticism in a way. When you're doing important things in life, somebody's going to not like you.
And we accept them. We love them. We love them too.
Yeah.
And you said earlier that, well, just now you just said that sometimes, you just tend to stay away from, the different managers that may not necessarily have a good reputation, because reputation is very important in this business, which is why parents also should understand that and also represent themselves in a great light as well, because even that can get around, to other industry professionals. Your kids, I know you guys met on set. How are they older? Are they still in show business?
Well,
okay.
All of them are, well, my oldest son is a musician, so he's still not in the business, but he still performs a little bit.
Okay.
And he works for a nonprofit as a day job. My middle son went into the military after he was a child actor, and he was disabled. Oh, sorry, hit the mic.
No worries.
Disabled in Afghanistan, so he is back home with us. Any longer? Well, occasionally when when the agent calls and begs her to do a voiceover for something, she'll do that. But that's
so
all.
what keeps you guys still motivated? It's just what's keeping you to still do what you guys are doing for us parents?
Right.
Since your kids are now older and kind of out of the business.
It's a great question. We're actually very fortunate to go back to our kids too, though. Paula's son had a different career. He's also an adult now.
He's 25.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I was going to go, oh, but don't tell me how old Patrick is. I can't remember. But all of them had very different careers. And we realized early on that was unusual. One of our kids was more into voiceover, one was more into theater. Paula's son was on a soap for a couple of years and did a lot of theater work. My other son did a lot of commercials, and all those are different career paths, really, really different. And we as parents realize now we couldn't have controlled that. What they were, what their talents were, what their path was going to be was that way, even though they were all raised by me. My three ended up different places. For us, that's important in talking to other parents and why we keep going, because we realize that even though when we started, it seems like, dinosaur age now, there really wasn't internet resources, there wasn't places to act, there wasn't communities of other families to connect with each other.
Right.
But now we look and go, wow, but you know what? Now the shift has changed a little bit to be, now you have to sort out all that information. Now there's a lot of information out there, but it's not all quality or accurate or good information. So now we see that, you know, now that our kids are older and we can look back, we go, okay, well, yay, we made an impact. There's a lot of information out there, but now we have to help parents sort it. So the need is still there, and that's what keeps us going is that
And
the
do you
need
feel
is
like
still
this
there
is
for
just
us.
your calling? This is just what you're supposed to, one of the things you're supposed to do, although your children are out of the business, because it's still very helpful, like you say.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what kind of information are you guys putting out there for us parents to review, to get to?
We have when something comes up that's an article, a news item that has to do with child actors. We keep some things like a database of kid actors that turned out okay. Because it's kind of the pushback against the stage mom myth about everybody being scary, and that's really not true. And by the way, a little sideline: if you want to get an Oscar, your best path is to be a child actor, because that's the statistical fact. So that those kids grow up to do other things. They go to college, they have other careers. Some of them are really successful as adults. So we keep a little database of that going. We have articles on our website about talent scams, very big deal, because there's so many predators across the nation, not just in Los Angeles, but in other smaller markets where opportunities aren't so great. There'll be predators that come in looking for parent money, you know, kind of cashing in on kid dreams. So we have a lot of information about talent scams on our website, about how to get agents and managers, about that kind of thing, like the just getting started, get your head in the right mindset. This is a business. It's not just your kids' hobby or dreams. I mean, it is that, but it's a whole nother world too. And we know parents don't know. How would you know? If you could be a doctor, a lawyer, extremely well educated, and still be clueless about how this business
because it's so unregulated, which is what I keep trying to bring home to parents. Is the most unregulated industry, very rewarding once, you know, the child grows up to be on that list that you guys have. And I briefly read over that list. I knew it was a lot. I knew it was, but we are so used to hearing only about, you know, those child stars who have a harder time transitioning from that, you know, young adult actor to that adult actor in a good light. And sometimes that's just what the tabloids want to run.
Right. And they're going to run the same kid 10 times. I mean, everybody,
over,
you know,
and
over and over and over
again.
There's really only, you know, 10 or 12 kids that are in that boat, but we hear about them all the time.
Really? That's it? Like,
yeah, it's really not very many. It's really,
wow.
Most of them just leave. You know, they go to the business and go to college.
And that's what I love about the business. Just because, you know, you're starting off as a child actor or model, it's just something to do, just like anything else for the child. And if they choose to when they get older, great. Right. And if they choose not to, then that's fine too, you know. So this is a song that EJ wrote. You can check him out on his social media at Forever EJ, and I love it. It's just catchy. It's my little new theme song, and I'm like, why not? You have a talk show, you need a theme song, right? I mean, you know. So I'm just gonna let you guys listen to it. It's called Tune In Now, produced and written and will be performed by AJ of the track Martians. And this is the full track Martians. What did I say wrong? I did. At the track of the track Martians. Oh, girl, I'm not dyslexia, but that E and that A and then the J and then it's close together. It looked like E and J. Okay, so let me say that again. Written and performed by EJ. I didn't know it was two different J's. And then produced by AJ of the track Martians. All the initials are the same almost. I'm like, that's what I read. Okay, cool. But here you go. You guys can listen to that. We're going to take a quick break. Call in for any questions. This is your opportunity to talk to Ann Henry and Paula Dorn, because they have like they said, a database full of great information. We're going to get into what has happened recently on set. Call in at 323-473-3100. Listen to my new theme song. I love it. Hey, hey, hey. Roll.
Hey, I'm about to tune it now. She gives a voice to the voiceless. I'm about to tune it now. If you entertain, she wants to know your name. I'm about to tune it now. She let it be known. She let it be known. I'm about to tune it now. Wait, there you go. It's the Jack. Hey, Jack.
Can you play the full version with the lyrics and everything? Okay, awesome. Welcome back. This is Jackie Elam on Jackie Elam Live Entertainment Unlimited. We are talking to Paula Dorn and Ann Henry with BizParentz.org. We were just recently talking about how you guys do all these wonderful things, all the things that you keep up with for us parents. Now, you did say in other states, not just California, are you watching the laws? What other states are you looking out for, you know?
Right. We have contact with a bunch of states across the nation. And when they try and do film incentives, which is a pretty common thing for states to do, they try and give a production incentive so that filming will come to their state.
Okay.
Often that happens in conjunction with some child actor regulation. At least we hope so.
Okay.
So sometimes when there's a film incentive, that state will come forward and say, hey, now that we're trying to lure these companies, we also should take care of our kids. And so we help them in that case. That's like New Mexico, Louisiana.
I put that in my book because I'm like, why? I said that. I'm like, I just don't understand. As a parent, again, I haven't done all the research and I haven't been keeping up with everything like you guys have for the last 15 years. But for the last almost 6 years, I'm like, why is it that when production or a state allow production to film, they aren't adopting the same laws that we have in California? I just don't understand that.
They should.
I hear from a lot of parents in Atlanta, and that's the mini LA.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a lot of fraud going on in Atlanta.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of fraud going on in Atlanta, all the way down to some people not getting paid, meal penalties and their per diem that they're supposed to get to eat, and they're not even getting their per diem. So why? And
it's a tough thing because when they try to get filming incentives and they're trying to lure productions in, of course they're doing it for the revenue,
right? But
that also means they don't want to push back. It's this delicate dance they're doing where they don't want to push back and say, we're going to put restrictions on you, film company, and make sure you do the right thing. They really at first think, oh, come on in, everybody come on, and then it gets out of control, and then they go, hey, wow, this is bad news, some people are getting exploited, we probably should get a grip on this. So it's this whole weird cycle that takes a few years to shake itself out. And Atlanta's a good example of places where there's tons of filming right now, but there's also a lot of scammers that have come into town too, because they see it's like blood in the water, where they try and do.
We have to do better with getting it just more regulated. I know I always say someone could have just gotten out of jail, murdered a couple of people, and then come right into the entertainment industry.
Sure, they could
very easily, because there's no background checks on the majority of the people in show business.
Right.
And I'm glad that there are certain things that are for the show business, but parents have to understand it's a business, like you said earlier, but also you want to understand who your kids are around. And because we don't necessarily understand everyone that's around us, stay right there next to them. We have a caller on the line. Hello, caller.
Yes, hi, I'm here.
Hi, where are you calling from, and what's your name?
Jackie, hi, I'm calling from Phoenix, Arizona. And my name is Paula. And I just have a question about I don't have kids, but I have nephews, and they are twins. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about multiples and how people deal with multiple. My friends, they want to put their kids into the business, into the show business. And I thought I'd call in and maybe have you talk a little bit about multiples and how what your best advice is with multiples in the show biz.
How old are they?
They are 7 years old.
Oh, perfect. Multiples are special, as you could sense. You knew that to ask that right question. In the industry, they're often represented by agents that specialize in multiples, and it's most advantageous if they're identical, because then they can use them as one child. Essentially, they can play one role switched off by two children, and that increases the work hours. Jackie, you were just talking about regulations. In California, a big regulation, and in New York now, just recently, is work hours in a day. They can only work kids so long in a day. They have to go to school some of that time. They have to get meal breaks and things like that. So you can imagine if you have two kids that look just the same, that's a bonus because you get a much longer work day. And the industry workdays are often 16 or 18 hours for the grown-ups. So if they have two kids, that's a great advantage. However, that also means that the kids, when they start to be 7, 8, 9, they actually have to act at that point.
Okay.
Because it's not just that they're cute and identical, they have to be able to pull it off.
Right.
And be really talented as well, be able to memorize all those lines, be able to pull that off. So the thing with multiples is a thing. It's for sure a thing, but as the kids get older, their skill level will overtake the fact that they are multiples, if that makes any sense.
Okay. Because I do feel like they get hired more than kids.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do for sure. Because it's a business, and no matter how you slice it, if they can get 5 more hours a day out of one character, it's just a jackpot for them.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. Continue to watch us and tune in next Saturday as well. Bye. Okay, that's wonderful. And I had a question. I always talk to set teachers when we're on set. And I know that even that's a circle. This business is so almost segregated in a sense. But okay, so you have set teachers. Then you have some set teachers who do non-union jobs, and then you have the union set teachers. And in order to do movies and TV shows that are SAG regulated and AFTRA regulated and all that good stuff, non-union set teachers cannot come onto union sets.
Right.
So what's the process for these set teachers? And I even talked to a couple of them, because great set teachers, all of the set teachers we've experienced have been great, wonderful. And at the end of the day, the non-union set teachers were telling me how difficult it is to even become a union set teacher. Do you know the process that they have to go through?
Yeah, it's really tough. The studio teachers in California are different than the ones in the rest of the nation, though.
Okay.
The rest of the nation, if they have a regulation for that, which not all states do, but if they do, then they have to get anyone that's credentialed in their state. So if you're in New York, you're getting a New York licensed teacher that might teach in public school. In California, though, we have our set teachers 24/7. So that means they have to have a couple extra things. They have to be doubly credentialed, so they can teach at elementary or high school level. That's really unusual. So they have extra stuff in the education world. Then they have to get licensed by the state as welfare workers. So there's a list there. Okay, so they've gotten all that extra education. Then they get licensed by the state. Then there's a list of about 350, 380 of those teachers. And there's a list on the Department of Labor website. Are those the union or the non-union? Those are the non-union. That's everyone. So that's the minimal, is they've gotten those extra things and they've gotten a state thing. Then on top of that, once they have worked, it's kind of like actors. They have to work their way into the professional world, into the union. So they can only get a union job when some other union teacher is unavailable. And there's only 100 and less than 200, I think, union studio teachers
that have been around. I was just on set.
And some of them are 90.
I was about to tell you, I was just on set a week or so ago with Makari. He booked a recurring role. Woohoo, Makari! Makari! On a great TV series that's going to be hilarious, because I went to the rap party and it's going to be so funny. So while I was on there, this particular set teacher was telling me about the 90-year-old.
Yeah.
And there's still, and I think it's a guy. He's still here. And once they get in the union, it's like it's already impossible or hard for the non-union set teachers to get in, but the other ones don't retire.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, pictures like substitute teachers in public school. If you only had to work like once a year, you could turn down jobs whenever you wanted, that's what the 90-year-olds are doing. They're just working once in a while, but they're still holding a spot kind of that the young teachers can't always work their way in. It's tough for the non-union teachers.
I know some great non-union teachers, and I'm like, I would love for you to, come on set with us, or, now that he's booked something, if I could request this particular set teacher to come, but if she's non-union, then I can't get her.
Right. It's tough.
There's no age requirement. I mean, 90 is old.
I know. It's crazy. Well, and there's good teachers and bad teachers. And you mentioned, requesting. Star names have studio teachers that they love and that travel with just them. Okay. So some studio teachers that are really good are, have hooked up with, say, Elle Fanning or something. She's an adult now, but you get my idea. That she's, she has a teacher that is her teacher and continually calls that teacher so that her education is consistent. So it's a toughie. I feel bad for the non-union teachers. Hopefully they'll move up. I did notice on the studio teachers website, because the union has their website, that there is a youthfulness that has moved into their board on the studio teachers union. So maybe things are changing for them. Around. I hope so.
And with that said, I want to talk about the impersonator.
Yeah.
But before I do, my purple hair producer, she's the one that even told me about this green card that I didn't even know about. So you just explained how hard it is to even be a union set teacher. How was it possible for this particular guy to impersonate a set teacher?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You may not be able to say what show, but can you just tell us that case?
It actually happened twice. It happened in 2014 and 2015 with different people.
Wow.
So
2 guys?
Actually 3 altogether. 3 guys.
Watch out for those men.
Unbelievable. I know. Well, men. But no, it was crazy. The green card that you were mentioning is issued by the state. So it's like it's kind of like our kid work permits. The state issues them a little thing. And it was this old school funky colored green card that had their name on it. But that's it. It didn't have their picture. It didn't have a chip. It didn't have any technology at all. It was just this little piece of paper. So what happened was there was 2 different cases. One case, there was 2 men who were pretending to be a union studio teacher. So all they did was got the name of this, 80-year-old student teacher that was in the union, made copied a green card on a copier and laminated it and said they were this guy. And so they actually infiltrated various sets for a long time.
Oh my gosh, for years?
Yeah. And we're getting a paycheck and then this other case, very similar. One of those guys, by the way, owned a strip club. That was his regular job. Winner, chicken dinner. The other guy that this happened with the next year kind of did a similar thing. He didn't go so far as to fake that he was another teacher. He just told productions that he was a studio teacher and they believed him. They never checked it out. They never did background check on their teacher. They never figured out if he even was a teacher, anything. He just said, hey, I'm a studio teacher, hire me. And some productions hired him. And same with student films. They have to be on student films. Sometimes they're on indies. They're beginning producers. They don't always know that they have to, background check all their staff. Like you said, there's very little regulation for the rest of the crew.
And that's the 2 people in this business before, they did the AB 1660 bill. Mm-hmm. It was set teachers and agents. And I felt secure about that. I never thought you should be on the lookout for a set teacher.
Right. Never would have thought.
Now, though, with the green card, but again, I asked for the guy's green card when we were on set about a week or so ago, and he pulled it out.
He came out with it, yeah.
And I want to just say right now, set teachers, do not get offended when we ask, because now that we know we can, we shall. And we will, because we should.
Yes.
We should.
And the union teachers, God bless them, they were actually the ones who caught these bad guys both times. They were parents and studio teach and the union.
So what happened? How did they catch them, though?
One of them was when they were getting a paycheck. The union got a report that said, hey, a guy got a paycheck. And the union went, that guy's not a teacher. And then another one was the parents. The parents on set said, this doesn't smell right. Something's wrong. And they talked to each other and they talked to the production and they caused enough doubt that production did some research and went, whoa, Nellie, this guy isn't even who he says he is. So it was parents being proactive. So yes,
I wonder what was he doing weird on set that prompted them
they said
to.
he wasn't doing anything with the kids, I guess, but he was, kind of making sexually suggestive things to the crew and the moms, and
Oh.
just things that a teacher who had been through, college and education wouldn't have said in the presence of kids. It wasn't like horrible, but it was enough that people went, hey, he doesn't really seem like teacher type,
And so, and if you said for years, so the 90-year-old or 80-year-old that he impersonated, did that person didn't work often at all?
Right, he didn't work often, and I guess his pension credits were going to the old guy, and it was okay. I'm not really sure what the details were, but I know the union was the one who saw the report and caught it and said, wait a minute, something's wrong. So the union now has been trying to push the state to get pictures on those green cards.
That's true.
They're
would
trying
solve it.
hard because they were like, well, wait a minute, this little green thing that you can copy it, FedEx is not really,
Yeah.
working for us. So
And it's not that expensive to do so.
yeah, we have technology now that they didn't have, 30 years ago when they
And maybe a
started that.
chip. I mean, if they putting chips in everything
Right.
else, our dogs, and trying to get them in us one day, not me, but one day.
Yeah, exactly.
They need to put a chip in the car, because how hard is it to take your picture and the same thing
Yeah.
that the guy did and do it again?
Yeah.
But so 3 times and that's in the history of.
Well, it's 3
the- what-
times
for
that
what
we
you-
know
that we
about.
know about.
Yeah, it probably happened more often than we ever knew. But
But I just don't understand that. How can they get onto the studio lot?
well, production hires them. It really falls on the producers. The
To then
studio
follow
who,
up
yeah,
with
who
who
hire, 'cause
they're
it's their
hiring.
employee. Yeah, it's their
That's true.
employee. We're just inheriting them as parents, so we don't know.
So we're trusting that they've done their job at the top.
We are, exactly, and which is the key: is don't trust everybody else. It's
Exactly.
your child. You got to be the one to go, wait a minute. And when you're sitting on set and you meet that studio teacher, I say you get on your phone and you just Google that guy's name and make sure he's actually, like, there's some evidence of this human existing.
Do you
as a
know
teacher.
if Screen Actor Guild on their website, if they have, I know they have a list of names. I've seen the names before. Do they not have the picture next to the names?
They don't. The Studio
Mm,
Teachers
we need the picture.
Union, though, just started to put pictures on their website. So when
Okay.
you go to the Studio Teachers Union, which is, I think, studioteachers.org, I think,
Okay.
they have pictures of at least some of the teachers on their website.
So then maybe we should request that.
Yeah, we should.
I know.
We
I
should.
think that would be great, because I would like to see the name with the picture. And then that way, when we get onto
Yeah.
the set, then we're more familiar. If it's less than 200, we're going to see you often anyway.
Yes.
And I do feel that you don't always see them, because my boys have done a lot of print jobs, a lot of TV as well, a couple of movies. But I've had different set teachers on. And of course, a particular client may continue to hire the same set teacher, so you do
Sure.
become familiar. But I'm sure that's what happened with these impersonators.
Right.
They were hired by the same crew and the same.
Right, and they were hired by, like, generally lower level indie types. So they were doing, in the one case there was New York Film Academy, which is kind of a student film sort of situation. So it was on the Universal lot, but it was a low level production.
Oh,
in
so it wasn't like a
comparison.
big production
Mm-mm.
with. Oh, okay.
No, just bunches
That
of
makes me feel
different.
better.
Yeah. No, it was. You're right. The bigger higher studio teachers have a hierarchy, just like actors. I mean, the high end studio teachers who this is their career and they're really
They
good at
choose
it.
them first.
They're
Okay.
choosing first, and they're doing the big feature films that shoot in Hawaii. They're doing
Okay.
the series regular jobs where they know it's Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, and they don't have to, herk through the mud somewhere in Uganda.
Okay.
They're picking the prime jobs. The better studio teachers are, and then it moves down to the lower level studio teachers are the ones that are also entry levels for kids, like indie films and student films and things where they have to be there, but they're probably not experienced teachers necessarily.
Okay. Well, that's good information to know. I didn't know it's a hierarchy even to the jobs that they get to choose from.
Yeah.
That's-
Because they get paid better, just like actors. They get paid better on the higher budget productions.
So
So-
do they get residuals?
No, they don't.
Okay.
But they get paid very well. They get paid very
More
well.
than a normal teacher that teach our kids in
Yes.
school? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
'cause
so
they get
that's
paid
why
by the day.
that's why they don't want to retire.
Yep, you got it.
That's amazing. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, I'm going to talk about the award show that I kind of read on your website that I'm like, I kind of knew because you kind of gave me that clue a long time ago. and I want to know what's going on with this award show.
Okay.
So again, this is, and I'm going to read it right this time, Deb. Tune In Now is the name of the song, written and performed by EJ, produced by AJ. Somebody got to take a J out of the track Martians. There's an EJ and AJ. Now this plan. Keep your names, your nicknames. But and then we're going to play the full version, which we already did at the end, of course, again. And then I Love It. Get it. Get it.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Welcome, this is Greg, inviting you to tune in Saturday, 6 p.m. to the Mystic Ballroom. All vinyl most of the time, and we'll cover psychedelic, soul, garage, and much, much more. Myself and the Young Mogul will bring you this every Saturday at 6 p.m. exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, R&B, Live 365 Radio, Flag TuneIn Radio, AHA Radio, TV Radio, and Apple TV Radio. Or you can watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality, radio, handcrafted for yours and mine listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
3, 2, 1. I'm about to tune in now. She gives a voice to the voiceless. I'm about to tune in now. If you entertain, she wants to know your name. I'm about to tune in now. She let it be known. What? She let it be known. I'm about to tune in now. Wait, there you go. It's the Jackie Elam show. Yeah.
I love that song. And all of those are my slogans. I haven't yet said, I'm going to let it be known. I'm one day when it's the right time. I'll say the other slogans. Okay, so when we were on commercial break, because I totally forgot to bring this up. I want to bring it up before we go to the next thing about the award show,
Okay.
the Young Artist Award Show. So when I was on set about a week or so ago, because of course this was all news to me about the green card, which I did ask that set teacher for the green card. He gave it to me, no problems. I just wanted to know what I lost my train of thought. Anyways, I was going to say she had experienced certain things with said teachers, and then I was looking this guy in his eye, and I'm like, let me just make sure you are who you are. You know, he was looking away, and I'm like, why are you looking away? I mean, I don't want to be the weird mom that's like thinking all said teachers are impersonating, you know, but
Right.
it's good to at least have certain rules and certain things that you do when you get on set.
Right.
And I think that anybody in this business should not get offended. I think some people get offended because they don't understand that we're just parents. We're just trying to do what is right for our children. At
Right.
the end of the day, we want to come to set, let them have a great time, a great experience, and get them home safely and as a whole little being that they are, without having any negative effects on them, you know?
Right, right. Well, and sometimes those laws are different or the rules are different, and sometimes they conflict with each other. Like
yes.
the ones on.
That's what
set.
that was my train of thought that I lost.
That's okay. I'll catch up
Yeah,
with you.
thank you.
No problem.
So that's what I was trying to say. Okay, so when I was on set, thank you.
No problem.
And when I was on set, okay, I was already telling him, because I do my whole spiel. So I'm sitting down, thank you for the green card. Okay, I understand that, you know, they have a room for the set teachers to teach the kids. Okay, on this particular set, my son was the only one. And I already knew that I'm not leaving my kid in here with you by himself. So I let him know I understand that SAG rules state that the set teachers, are to be in the room with the kids. And I've heard, because I told him I've heard, because Deb has an experience where she was unable to go into the classroom with her child, and she was actually sent like down the hallway around the corner, which is
Oh
really
my Lord.
opposing the state law. So the SAG rule is saying they can be in this room with the kids to teach them, okay? But the state law says you're supposed to be within sight or sound always. And so when I told him that, he was like, well, if you go on to such and such set, TV series, then the teacher will be in there with the kid by himself. I'm like, well, I'm not on that set, because if I come on that set, it's kind of probably most likely going to change a little bit, because I don't like to hear no in that sense. I don't like, I'm very
Well, not when it
persistent.
comes to your kids.
When it comes to my kids,
Yeah.
I'm not going to budge. So I told him, I said, I understand where you're coming from. I said, and I even had another set teacher, and this other set teacher, she's the one that brought it up to me a long time ago. She was like, they're like opposing each other, the state law versus the SAG rule. And I'm like, I'm going to stick with the state law. She was like, you go with the one that's kind of like overruling the other.
Yes, you are right.
And I told him that.
Trumps union rule.
Right.
Definitely
Law over
wins.
union. Right. And I told him that. I said, I'm going to go with the state law. And the state law says that I'm supposed to be within sight or sound. If you close this door, I cannot really hear him, and I definitely can't see him. So I will be sitting in here as you teach him. I will do my own thing. I won't interrupt. You can teach accordingly. And he was really reluctant. And so when he saw that I wasn't budging, I'm looking you in your eyes. We're eye to eye. And he saw that, okay, this mama, okay, cool. And we didn't have any problems from that. We ended up talking. He and I ended up talking a lot. Great conversation. My son got his work done. But why? Why do we have the opposing law?
Well, you know what happened there, I think, was the law is the right one, that parents need to be in sight and sound. The parents are the ones that are responsible for their kids, right?
Right.
So if that means the door is open and your kid, I mean, not all of us want or need to be teaching our kids. It depends on if you're homeschooling or you're not or whatever, but you at least should have the door open so that you can kind of hear with your ear and cock your head a little bit and go, hey, I'm thinking I'm hearing things getting a little wild in there, if the kids are misbehaving or whatever. But the SAG rule was really meant, it was passed in the 70s, and it was meant for them to not put the school in the electrical room. That's what the intent was. Originally, it was gaffers and electricians and other set people. They would shove the kids' schoolroom in this closet and have the kids go to school in there. So it was meant to protect kids and give them a good school environment, an educational environment that they should have. That's what the original intent was. It was never intended to have parents not be in there. But over the years, and this kind of speaks to, why BizParentz is and why you are, allowing parents to have control over their world and their children and be advocates and good advocates for their kids. SAG's rule started to be a good message for kids. We want them to have a safe education place. But the studio teachers who have their own agenda, because they just want jobs, right? They just want to get the work done, and their job is not about whether our kids are great at the end of the day. They may care about the kids, maybe sort of, but their job is really just to work for production and get their job done and get the kids doing their 3 hours of schoolwork and get them out. So for them, it's more efficient if parents aren't in there. And they would rather do their job on their own, right? I would like to do my job with nobody looking at me either. Like, how nice for you. So they interpret that rule incorrectly, and studio teachers will tell parents, and if parents are gullible enough to buy it, then the studio teachers will say, oh, no, you can't be in here because the SAG rule is. Well, and that's true that the SAG rule says that they're supposed to be alone, but newsflash, studio teachers' job is not to enforce the union rules. That is not their job. Their job is to enforce the law.
Ooh,
so
that's good.
They are not supposed to be doing the union rules.
Ooh,
so you can just go. You know what?
See, I didn't have to go there with him because he already saw it in my eyes.
He did it.
We were eye to eye, baby. I'm like, look, I'm gonna say this one time and one time only.
And if he had pushed you a little bit further, then the answer is, I'll tell you what. I will take care of the union rules, or I'll call the union if I need them, and you take care of the law. And the law says I get to be in sight and sound of my kid. Deal with it.
That's good. That's good. Why isn't this applied to auditions?
Well, auditions are tough because you don't want, there's an artistic element to auditions as well. And while I think that it's safety and nice if it can be in auditions, realistically, when your kids get a little older and they're doing, say, a scene where they're crying or whatever, a lot of kids don't want their mom to see them
Okay.
doing those artistic things, and really, do we want to see, is it an advantage if we were in the room and saw other kids auditions? I mean, we've talked about maybe some kind
I
of
know he was saying
remote,
like
you
the
know,
TV.
yeah, like a TV
I mean,
camera
I
or
said
something. There
before,
probably is a solution.
there
We just
is
haven't found it yet.
a studio who have a TV in the waiting room. I can't remember, but I wouldn't, if I remembered, I wouldn't say the name anyway. But there's no audio. You
Oh,
can see
that'd
the
be good.
kid,
Okay.
but you cannot hear the kid. And
Oh.
that's just, I think all of them should do that.
Yeah,
all
that's
of them.
that's a good solution.
And I think we need to get some more signatures. We got signatures last time. That's how I met you. I met you, Deb, my purple hair producer. I'm always say that together. And our friend Sean Bailey
right.
had you over many years ago. And that's when you first told us about certain cases that had taken place, and we really appreciate you coming out.
Yeah,
you know,
scared
and
everybody.
you also, I know it scared me to write a book.
Yeah,
you actually,
okay.
No, it scared me to like, wait a minute, I just got some great information. I'm already talking to parents. Well, wait a minute, we should put this all together in a book,
which is great.
And you also told me about the Young Artist Awards, and that's stuck in my head ever since that meeting we had at Sean's house. I mean, I didn't really touch on that in my book, but can you tell us what has recently happened? Because there is an article in the Times newspaper.
Last Sunday's LA Times had a big 3-page spread, huge thing. And I didn't work on that article as much as Paula did, though. So I'm going to let her take this question because she is much more.
Again, you will hear her but not see her.
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't look sick to me, but this is
so I'll just
you wear
smile and you pretend that I'm not that Paula's the one talking.
Yeah, move your mouth and she talk.
That'd be a fun one to try.
It's like Snapchat or something.
Yeah. So I think the first thing I wanted to say, I'm obviously not going to review everything that's in that huge article, but I think one thing that maybe wasn't apparent is that reporter, Daniel Miller, actually attended the awards himself this year. I'm going to guess they probably were in March, like they usually are, but would have been in the spring. And that article was spurned from his own observations, kind of uneducated observations of what he saw there and how he felt uncomfortable about it. And he did reach out to us early on. We've worked on other articles with him. So what came out last week was the result of months of work that Daniel did, very little of it with us, but with lots of people. So the quick version, Maureen DeGrone founded the Young Artist Awards. At the time they were called Youth in Film Awards. They've gone through multiple names. She had a very strong connection with the Hollywood Foreign Press and the Golden Globes that her mother was a member of. Maureen has since passed away, and I'm not going to say anything ill of her. I think her intent was good. She thought there's nobody honoring these kids, and this goes back 30 some odd years ago.
Okay.
But as things took place, as she got older, as certain people surrounded her, there was a lot of predatory behavior there, and predatory is what we just lump in can be people who are predators of money, predators of time, predators of physically being with children, and all of that existed there to some degree within people that were there. We've seen it within arrests. I did go with my son in 2003 as an unaware parent, which for people who really follow Ann and I, we aren't like the people who sit back and go, how could you not know that? We're the people who've trounced through everything and went, well, I didn't know. Well, I didn't know either. Well, we should tell someone.
Yeah.
And the voting is always questionable. The nominations are always questionable. We've just always felt like it wasn't good enough.
Can I just say, just the fact that you have to pay that already turns me off, because a real award show, you don't have to pay to go to an award show,
and it's pretty pricey. Those tickets are what, 200 and something a piece.
Yeah. Wow, a piece like per the child and the mom would then. Oh, that's ridiculous to just get a something that I can go to myself and print out for my baby, and or just myself tell the kid.
And the other thing is, as a mom, I think people, you go and you win, and some people are very upset at us when we criticize it because they feel like we're criticizing the child. Well, we're not criticizing the child at all. But when your child is there and you have, like, say, a really cerebral child like my son, who wouldn't care about people going, yay, you're great or whatever, but he thinks someone judged his work, and then you watch someone win who wasn't even the same body of work.
Okay.
It's hurtful. It's soul crushing. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Now you're like messing with the psyche of these kids for your bank account, and you're allowing creepy people to be around. You know, and in true disclosure, we held an awards event early in our, you know, the CARE Awards, entirely different premise. We didn't pretend we were judging or anything, but we saw firsthand. We were like crud magnets, you know, and when everything kind of fell apart and all the arrests and suicides and stuff that took place a few years ago, we knew all of those men because they'd all tried to insert themselves in our world because they thought we would provide them access and we would provide them with a we'd make them look good, you know.
Okay, so you
right?
just said suicides and arrests.
Yes.
So the Young Artist Award, the founder passed away.
Yes, she did.
There's other people running it.
Yes.
They charge you to come.
Mhm.
I do know of some A-list celebrities who are recipients of this award.
Well, they don't always attend.
They-
They don't
and-
always understand.
Okay.
You'll see that little Johnny, whoever will beat out someone really with, you know, again, wrong age, wrong category, different thing. But Johnny bought tickets. Johnny's sitting there, so Johnny will win. You know.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just very, very. It's just nothing of the standard of what I feel parents should do. And some longtime organizers have started another awards event now. So even if people are leery of YAA, we have YEA because they didn't change the name very much. And you know, it's the same thing. It just it invites predatory behaviors, and I don't know that they.
So they're not
realize
doing
it.
background checks. They're not really honest with their voting system.
Right.
Almost is what you guys are saying, and
Right.
this is what the article is also saying as
Right.
well. So it's not
And-
like you're saying anything that's
Right.
not
And
already
as a
out there.
parent, you nominate your own child. So it's I mean, they market to the people that need to do that or feel like they need to do that or watch other people do that and don't want their kid to miss out. So what we would consider to be respectable in any other awards avenue is sorely missing in this whole entire thing. It's not studio nominated. It's not Oscars for the kids. It's
Okay.
parents who nominate their kids and then pay all of this money
Oh.
to go. Might be fun for the kids. Okay, some of them, but it's just not, you know, why we support it. It's
And-
bad.
And that sounds like if, and I'm saying a recipient, I've heard of, you know, an A-list actor who is now an adult, when they were younger, received this award. It sounds as if they are no longer supporting the Young Artist Award show, if you don't see the studios supporting the Young Artist
Right.
Award show, or like you say, the Oscars or any other award shows, or if there's no name that's really supporting this organization that's coming in trying to infiltrate this business to try to get over on the parents, that should be a red flag, right? Would you guys
Well,
say?
And wouldn't you say the judging should matter? I mean, I know Paula mentioned it. This is Anne again, for those of listening and aren't watching.
Okay,
but,
they can see you now.
yeah. Oh, okay. It's me. I think, you know, when we just went through the Oscars and we had the Oscars so white and all that, it's an issue of who is judging, right? It
Right.
matters who's judging, for a lot of reasons. For people who are, you know, qualified because of their body of work or the color of their skin or their whatever their story is, we have a reason why we care who judges something. At Young Artist Awards and Young Entertainer Awards both, there doesn't seem to be any disclosure or transparency to who is making those judgment calls. And so like Paula said, you have a great kid who maybe did a great performance and they deserve a fair judging process. And I'm not really sure why parents will bother with such a thing when you have no idea who these creepy people are that are judging your child. Why do you want creepy people judging your
And
child?
here's the thing, I think this is where the education comes in.
Yeah.
Parents think if my child wins an award, they'll get more work. That's not true. They think if they attend every red carpet event in Hollywood, that
Right.
they'll get more work. That's not true. Get good representation.
Yep.
Let your child audition. And if it's theirs, it's theirs. And if it's not for them, it's not going to be for them. But there
Right.
is no way to help your child get more work by them being super active in this business. I always like to separate the business that my children are in. Like, let them live, let them do kid things. And then, you know, again, when they work, they work. And that's something that they've done. That's an accomplishment. We reward them ourselves. But if you feel like you have to get some shiny little trophy for your child to feel as if they're doing a great job, then you need to start with yourself as the parent, because you should be verbally affirming your child, verbally congratulating your child, and that should be enough.
Right. And it
Not
should be for a job well done.
a job well
Not
done.
for
Always, though.
what they are, not
Yeah,
for something
even
that's-
if it in our eyes we feel, because I always feel like when we judge and say, okay, this audition was or wasn't as good as it could have been, that's the one that they book. So as a parent, we should just be hands on always, but you should never have to pay for anything outside of headshots and acting classes. To pay to get a trophy, it's not how the business work, parents. And what do you have? You have something to say, Paula, before we
I just
go?
wanted to say, we use the term organic. Organic fits this very, very well. Red carpets and things are a part of this industry, and you belong there when you have work that puts
On
you
it.
there.
Yes.
Not when you've bought a press person you don't need just so your kid can play. It's actually harmful to a career.
Wow. And I just try to keep unless they work on something, we'll attend. If they didn't work on it, they're just too young.
Right.
Like they're 10 and 8. Like, why?
Yeah,
Why?
it's just silly.
It's not going to help them book more jobs just because you got a picture. Yes, you have a picture, but they can get plenty of pictures.
Yeah.
So, this hour goes by so fast. I'm going to stop saying that one day. But it does. I'm like, wait a minute, did I get everything? Let me get my notes. But I'm just excited that you guys came in. You guys were able to tell, I know you have a lot of headlines. Do you guys allow parents to call in with any inquiries or any complaints? Are you the people that they tend to go to, or should we just direct them to SAG?
We do. We take them as in the form of emails and electronic, because we both have separate lives. We're volunteers, so this isn't a full-time job for us.
Okay.
So that means emails are best. Our Facebook page is really active. We
So
love
what's
when
your
parents
social
do
media?
that. BizParentz Foundation on Facebook. We have a Twitter and an Instagram, but Facebook is where we have the most conversation.
Okay.
We do some other, parent message boards too, but if you stop at our Facebook page or email us at bizparents@aol.com, we're welcome to do that too.
Awesome.
2 Z's.
Awesome.
Z's
And
are
again,
cute.
this is my new theme song.
Love it.
It's called Tune In, written and performed by EJ, produced by AJ, with Track Martians. Check out all his social media is Forever EJ. I got it, Forever EJ. And I just want to thank you guys so much for
Thanks,
coming
Jackie.
out. A lot of great information, but you guys have to keep coming back, because
would love to.
I know it's so many more things. We could, even that long list, because I always like to put the positivity out there.
Yeah.
We have to go over this list because people don't realize a lot of their A-list actors were child performers, and they turned out well.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Awesome. Well,
anytime.
you're welcome back at any time, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Jackie Elam Live, Entertainment Unlimited. I'm Jackie Elam, if you haven't figured that out. But I just want to thank everyone for coming in. Thank you guys for tuning in, watching, calling in, listening, and we really appreciate you. Come back next Saturday from 12 to 1, and I look forward to even interviewing EJ, because he will be here in November, but I'll shout him out and you guys will know. So maybe he'll perform and we can dance together. I can only rope out a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Pop, pop, pop. Woo, pop, pop, pop. No, this way. Thank you guys. Thank my intern Allison and my purple hair producer Deb and Ann and Paula and my children that's acting up now because they know it's ending.
Yay.
You guys have a great day. Enjoy your Saturday.
Three, two, I'm about to tune in now. She gives a voice to the voiceless. I'm about to tune in now. If you entertain, she wants to know your name. I'm about to tune in now. She let it be known. She let it be known. I'm about to tune in now. Wait, there you go. It's the Jackie Elam Show. Yeah, that's it. Three, two, I'm about to tune in now. She gives a voice to the voiceless. I'm about to tune in now. If you entertain, she wants to know your name. I'm about to tune in now. She let it be known. She let it be known.
Thank you for tuning into LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network, original reality radio, and crafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk. Stay tuned.